Well, there's your problem, lady. All right, we got a 2003 Ford F150 with a 5.4 liter engine. So the customer states that he was driving on the freeway and I don't know where the truck lost power. He couldn't drive the truck anymore, so he got it towed over here, and now it's in my hands. What I noticed right now that I drove it in is that it has a long crank time. So let me show you what it's doing. All right, so it has a longer than normal crank time. The service engine soon light is on over there, and we got the ABS light on. All right, so a couple things that I want to check right off the bat is fuel pressure. Hook up a scan tool and see what codes are in memory. And I'm not worried about the ABS, but if you want me to check it out, I will. We're gonna go into Diagnose. What is this? American, of course, Ford. And right here it tells you everything that the scanner can do with this F150 as far as programming, coding, module setups, and all that good stuff. Anytime we have automatic, we go automatic. What's up, Logan? This is just another way of looking at things. You can go on system list and then it'll scan all the modules that way if you're used to looking at it that way. I like doing the topology. It just looks, it's different, you know, it does that stuff. Okay, so we're gonna do a smart scan, and that's gonna scan every module, and it's gonna tell us if there's codes in there or not. So you can see right there, it's red. There's something up with the ABS, there's something up with the GEM, and there's something up with the...
Okay. Oh, that's verde, puppy.
Yeah.
That's verde.
That's verde?
Yeah, that's verde.
And what other color? Rojo?
Yeah.
Whoa, whoa, are you okay?
I'm okay.
Yeah? Okay. Let's see. So we're gonna go into the PCM to see what's going on there. And we got a P1000, which is, somebody clear the codes. P0401, EGR, 2 less flow detected. Okay, good grammar there. We got a P0171 system tooling on bank 1, and we got a 174 on bank 2, and we got a 301 misfire, and a 316 misfire detected at startup.
Push the button.
Push the button. All right, so
You.
since we got the system tooling
Push the red.
and we got some misfires, I want to look at freeze frame data. So we're gonna enter the PCM. Shut the fuck up.
Forgot.
Motherfucker.
Forgot.
Alright, so we can go into OBD function. We'll go into OBD function, and that'll give us access to the freeze frame data. Here's the DTC that costs the freeze frame data storage, which is the 171, and coolant temp 161, load value calculated load 25%, engine RPM 644, so it was at idle. And let's see, long term bank 1 and 2 was at 29, 30%. Short term is back down to 3 and 6%. Okay, so this looks like a vacuum leak. Vehicle speed 0 miles per hour, so the truck wasn't moving. So we got a lean condition at idle without moving the vehicle. All right, so let's keep that in mind. Now let's go back. I want to look at the O2s. I want to look at fuel trims. I'm gonna start it up and go drive it and see how it feels. Bank 1, bank 2, sensor 1 and 2. And I want to put fuel trims up in here too.
Yeah.
Right, Logan? Then we hit OK.
Okay.
And then I want to graph these. So I'm gonna graph. Ooh, that looks nice. And I'm gonna start it up. So let's see what these O2s are looking like. And let's keep an eye on these short-term fuel trims. Right, Logan?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Oh, long crank time. And let's just keep an eye on these O2s.
Go.
Yeah, all right, Logan, give me 1 second.
Purple.
Ooh, purple? Purple?
Blue.
Purple. Yeah. How does it look?
Oh. Red, purple, red, blue.
Pues. Touch it again. Touch it.
Okay.
Okay. Pues.
Okay.
Just one time.
Okay.
1. Boom. There. 1. Okay. Up. 1 time. Thank you. All right, Logan. What are we looking at? O2s. O2 sensors. Fuel trims. Bank 1 and bank 2. 1 y 2. Okay. Oh, 3, 4. Yeah, 3, 4. Okay, so the upstream O2s are oscillating pretty good. They're not indicating a lean condition. The downstream, however, is down near 0 volts. Maybe that's because they're not warm yet. So we're just gonna keep an eye on this, let it get warm,
Go, go.
and then we'll keep looking at this. Let me see the fuel trims, mijo. Let me see the fuel trims. I can't see. All right, let me rev it up a little bit and see if these fuel trims come down. And if they do go down into the negative numbers, and then that's gonna tell us that we have a possible vacuum leak. You're in my way. You're in my way.
Wait, Bobby.
No, you're in my way. Okay, I'm going to rev it up and we're gonna look at these fuel trims.
Blue, green, purple.
Purple, blue, green, purple. What about the red? Is there a red? All right, let me rev it up. Oh, pinche Logan. Pinche Logan.
Pinche Bobby.
Pinche.
Pinche Bobby.
Pinche papi.
Pinche Logan.
Pinche Logan.
Pinche Logan.
Okay, let me see, mijo. Let me see the scanner. Okay, nice. All right, let me rev it up. So they do go down. That does indicate a vacuum leak. All right, so what I'm gonna do right now is go drive it and verify his concern regarding the low power. He said he did spark plugs, what, a month ago, 2 months ago? And now he has low power. And he also brought this to me. He said the fuel filter may be clogged because I haven't done it. So we might be doing this, but first I wanna verify and see what is actually going on with this F-150. All right, so let's go drive it and verify the concern. I'm out doing a test drive on the F-150 and I really don't feel the hesitation or lack of power. The only thing that I feel is that long crank time when we're starting it up, and that's about it. I don't feel hesitation, I don't feel lack of power. I feel like the truck drives okay, but we still have a check engine light with a lean condition, so we gotta look at that. And we have an EGR code and a misfire code, so I'm gonna take it back and we're gonna see if it's related. But as far as lack of power, I don't feel any lack of power. All right, so just got back from the test drive.
Yeah.
That's what, 4 or 5 codes that we have in memory?
Huh?
Yeah. How do the O2s look? They look okay?
Yeah, the colors.
Oh, the colors? Okay. What do you see?
Taking it off.
The what? They're waking up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are we going lean right now or are we rich?
Yeah.
So what do you think? Vacuum leak or fuel? Vacuum leak? Okay. So we got to do a visual, right? And maybe a smoke test? And maybe a fuel pressure test? All of those tests? Wow, that's a lot of work. All right, so we have a P0171, P0174 system tooling on bank 1 and bank 2. We got a P0301, cylinder 1 misfire detected, and we have a P0401, EGR insufficient flow. With all those codes, we can potentially have a vacuum leak around cylinder 1, giving us that misfire and those lean codes, but we also have that P0401, EGR insufficient flow detected. And this is a vacuum style EGR. Now I was just doing a visual inspection and this right here caught my eye right away. So if you look right here, this tube is actually melting into the EGR tube. Now I can feel this down here and it doesn't look like it went all the way through. But as I was looking here, take a look at this DPFE. This DPFE sensor doesn't have these chingaderas connected. Why are they off? I don't know. All right, so I put them back the way they're supposed to be. Now let's go back on the scanner and look at some data to see if we have any kind of improvement here. And we still got a long crank time. All right, let this run for a little bit. We got 30% on the long term and the short term. The short term was at 14, 15. Earlier, now we're down to 5, 6, 7, and it's going back up. Never mind. Okay, so we still have that lean condition right there. Those 2 lines that were disconnected did not improve anything. Let me go put a smoke machine on the intake manifold and see if we can pinpoint this vacuum leak. All right, check it out. This is what I got. I love this little thing because you don't even need an air compressor for it. All you gotta do is hook it up to your battery, positive and negative, turn it on, and you can either use air mode or smoke mode. So we'll use smoke mode. Once the smoke starts coming out, then we're ready to go. Okay, so I had the machine going on for a couple minutes and I have no signs of a vacuum leak anywhere. So are we headed in the right direction or do we need to go somewhere else? I think I'm gonna go after fuel pressure and I'm gonna check this mass airflow because the first thing I saw here, this says F150 4.6. This is a 5.4, that says 4.6. Okay, so no vacuum leak except for the two hoses that we had at the DPFE sensor, but we plugged them back in and the fuel trims were still pretty bad. Let me check out this mass airflow sensor and see what's going on with it. Yeah, this is 4.6, so we might have a different mass airflow in here. See, the smoke was making it over here. Oh. Okay, there's two little elements. I'm gonna clean them up, but I don't think we're gonna improve on this. They don't look that dirty. All right, but my concern is not really the dirtiness of this mass airflow sensor. What I'm concerned about is it the same part number for 5.4 and 4.6? All right, so I just did a quick check on the mass airflow sensor, and it turns out that the 4.6 and the 5.4 liter engines use the same mass airflow sensor. All right, so we got a P0171, 174, system tune lean on bank 1 and bank 2. We got positive fuel trim numbers, and as we raise the RPMs, the fuel trims get better. That right there is an indication of a vacuum leak. Now we did a smoke test, and we found no vacuum leaks. Now I was expecting to see some kind of smoke around cylinder 1 since we have the P0301 with those system tune lean codes. Maybe an injector O-ring or the intake manifold gasket, but we had nothing. Now I know there's a PCV elbow on the back of this intake manifold that's very common. That one also checked out good. So we got no smoke whatsoever, no vacuum leaks. So now what I'm gonna do is a fuel pressure test, and the specs on this one are 35 to 45 with the key on, engine off, and with the engine running it's 28 to 45 psi. So I'm gonna cycle the key right now and we're gonna see where we're at with the key on, engine off. All right, so I just cycled the key and we got nothing. All right, so now I'm gonna crank it and we're gonna keep an eye on this fuel pressure gauge and see what it does. And I suspect that we're gonna have very low pressure. All right, I had to give it some gas to get it going, but we are at around 19 psi. That's very low. The specs for this one with the engine running is 28 to 45. We're not even at 20. So this right here is why we have the P0171 and that P0174. Low fuel pressure. This is our lean condition right here. Let me shut it off real quick. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Not even 20 psi of fuel pressure at the gauge. All right, so what I'm gonna do right now is a current ramp test of the fuel pump, and from that test we're gonna decide where we go from there. In the underhood fuse relay box, we have the fuse and the relay. So fuse 10 20 amps is a power feed to the relay on pin 30. 86 and 85 are the control side of the relay, and this power feed goes through the relay and it comes out on pin 87 onto this dark green yellow wire. Now there's a splice right here. This wire goes down to the PCM, and the PCM monitors the fuel pump on this wire. So battery voltage goes into the inertia switch on the dark green yellow and comes out on the pink black, and it makes it all the way to the fuel pump. The fuel pump gets grounded at G104, which is on the left front of the engine compartment. The other two wires are for the fuel sending unit. So to do my fuel pump current ramp test, I'm gonna use the pink and black wire, and we're gonna see what we have there. So let's go back to the car and check it out. All right, so as you saw from the diagram, the fuel pump relay and the fuse live here in the underhood fuse relay box. The fuel pump relay is right here in the middle, and the fuel pump fuse is fuse number 10, 20 amps right there next to the 15 amp fuse. Now I'm gonna start my testing at the inertia switch, and if I need to come back to the fuse box, then I will. So this is the inertia switch right here. We have a green yellow and we have a pink and black wire. So I'm gonna do a quick current ramp test. All right, so take my amp clamp, put it on low amps 20, zero it out, put it on the pink and black wire, which is a feed for the fuel pump. All right, so I'm gonna command the pump on and we're gonna see what we have here. And off. So we got about 4 amps of current. Now this waveform looks pretty good. We can even figure out the fuel pump RPM from here. If we count 8 of these segments, if it is an 8 segment pump, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we have about 6 milliseconds. we divide 60,000 by 6, and that gives us 10,000 RPM. That's pretty high for this fuel pump. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and change the fuel pump out. But before I do the fuel pump, I wanna go ahead and change the fuel filter to see if there's any changes in pressure. Alright, so I just got the new fuel filter installed. A restricted fuel filter or a restriction in the lines can give you low fuel pressure and can give you the drivability symptoms that we're having. But we didn't have high amperage. If we had a restriction in the fuel filter or the lines, that would make the fuel pump work a little harder, which would increase our amperage. And we were only reading about 4 amps of current. So I'm 100% on the fuel pump, but I'm still gonna take this reading and let's see what happens. Alright, so no changes, no improvement in fuel pressure. This was not a clogged fuel filter issue. So let's go change out the fuel pump, and then we're gonna see some changes in fuel pressure.
Cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold, like icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. In games, I create my own lane. Make the pleasure out of pain. Turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange. Popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name. I just want to be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain. I just want to be greatness.
Alright, I got the new pump installed. I'm going to cycle the key to prime the system, and the fuel pressure should hold. And then I'm going to go to the scanner, and I'm going to verify that this one's fixed by checking our fuel trims and making sure that the lean condition is gone. Alright, so key on, engine off. We're sitting right about 32 psi. So right now what I'm going to do is start it up, and we should be anywhere between 28 to 35 psi. And at the same time, I'm going to hook up the scanner so we can look at the fuel trims, and our lean condition should be gone. But I did disconnect the battery, so we might have wiped the fuel trim memory from there. So let me start it up and let's go look at the fuel trims. Starts right up. No more long crank. It's idling good. We're at 23, 26, 24. So I'm just gonna let it run, let it warm up, and then we're gonna see where the fuel trims are at. All right, so now we got the downstream O2s waking up. We're at 0.7 on the downstreams, and the short-term fuel trims came down. I still don't like how these O2s take forever to get warm and to start working. The downstream on bank 1 and bank 2, but I like how this looks right now. So now my short terms are at pretty close to 0. So I'm gonna call this one a fix right here. But that's gonna be it for this one. 2003 Ford F-150. Customer complaint was low power, got stranded on the freeway, extended crank time, check engine light on, system to lean bank 1 and bank 2, bad fuel pump. All right, so that's gonna be it for this one. I'll see you guys on the next one.
I just went in there, and Hector is gonna be running 3 Honda Civics with spoon engines.